Hello and welcome to Knots Today with me, Emma Caldwell. Happy Halloween if you're celebrating today. Here's what's on the show. First, we've been to meet a former shoplifter who's helping the police and shops to cut down on offences in the city.
There's certain signs to look out for when before somebody's going to become aggressive, and looking for them signs and knowing when to step back, because somebody getting hurt for a bit to protect some stock isn't worth it.
And we'll also be finding out how a new drug could help patients with a rare liver disease. The medicine will help people living with the disease PBC, and we'll be chatting to someone from Knots who has the condition, as well as a physician, to find out more in a minute. We've also been to meet the gymnasts from Nottingham who could be the Olympians of the future.
We were all there together, so everyone was cheering everyone on. The atmosphere was really good.
I don't think I'd be able to do gymnastics if I didn't have these guys.
And we've been to find out some of the spooky plans people have got for Halloween tonight.
I'm dressing in an inflatable dinosaur.
Good chance to get a lot of sweets, but also I think the scary side of it, that's not always so good for little children.
Well, they were good pumpkins, weren't they? Plus in sport, we'll be hearing from Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo as the Reds prepare to welcome West Ham on Saturday.
James is not available, Danilo is out, Ibrahim Sangare is out also. So we are short on numbers. We have Elliot and Morgan to assess and decide.
All that and more to come over the next hour or so. But first, 20 years ago, retired teacher Jill Rich from Bingham visited her GP with a painful tennis elbow, a mild itch and fatigue, which was mistaken at first for symptoms of the menopause. But what Jill actually had is a condition called primary biliary cholangitis, or PBC. I think I've pronounced that right, but we will check. The condition is caused when the immune system attacks the bile ducts, and that leads to a build-up of bile and causes liver damage. There's medication to help the condition for people like Jill, and now, for the first time in nearly a decade, a new form drug has been approved to treat the disease. And I'm pleased to say, joining me now in the studio, Jill herself and hepatology consultant, Professor Stephen Ryder. Thank you both for joining us tonight. Now, how are we actually pronouncing this?
You got pretty close. It's primary biliary cholangitis.
Okay.
But you can see why PBC is a better
Absolutely.
shorthand.
And what exactly is it?
PBC is an autoimmune disease, so that the person who's affected, their immune system gets it wrong. It makes a mistake and starts to recognise some of our body tissues as something it doesn't like and attacks them. And in PBC, the target of that attack are the small bile ducts that drain bile from the liver into the intestine.
And Jill, you got diagnosed 20 years ago, so 20 years you've been living with this. But at first it was originally misdiagnosed as the menopause, wasn't it?
Well, I suppose misdiagnosed, yes, because I had all the symptoms at that time of just one thing. They just do a blood test, the aching bones, tennis elbow. So, you get the HRT and you walk away, but then we moved back to Bingham, where we used to live, and never do now. And my GP that I'd had for years suddenly said, "What the place have you been doing? Where have you been? You look awful," which isn't very nice, is it? But he straight away did all the important blood tests, and he came back and he said, "Jill, I have never heard of this. The whole surgery hasn't. Wow. So let's do this journey together." And that was the most marvellous thing that's been said to me.
So what has the journey been?
It's been one where I was straight away sent off to the Queen's Medical Centre for tests and further work, and then greatest of care ever from Queen's Medical Centre, greatest of care from my consultant, from my doctor, because he did everything. I could even go for a chat. But it was about 10 years later that I suddenly thought, I haven't found anybody like me.
Wow.
And that's another important step, because I've been itching, I've had fatigue, brain fog is another one, of course. The bones get mistakenly and still for something else.
So there's a lot going on with that. Day to day, how does it affect you?
You do end up learning to live with it, but it can be very hard, because I find it very difficult now. As 20 years on, I've got 3 young grandchildren that live quite close. And the fatigue hits you all of a sudden. There's not a build-up, it just goes bam, it's like treacle. The itch, I am learning to mindset myself that it's there, but I'm not going to scratch. And I've only scratched my head once since I've sat in here.
It's impressive, because when you've got an itch, you want to have a scratch.
That's right, but you do that. And when it's at its worst, you plunge your feet in a bowl of cold water. That's what anybody with PBC with it will tell you.
Cold water at the ready. Now, Professor, there's a new drug on the market. It's been a decade since any new medication has come up for this. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the The new drug, it's really great to have some extra treatment available. We have existing treatments that can damp the disease down, really. They don't cure it, but they stop the liver damage. And this new one, elafibranor, it's called, does the same thing, but it actually works in a different way to the other ones. And because not everybody responds to the original drugs we've got, having another option for people is a really positive thing. So people who may not have had any benefit from the previous drugs and still been at risk of developing not just the symptoms that Jill describes, but actually liver failure from it, can hopefully be protected by taking elafibranor now.
And am I right in thinking this is something that can't be cured? You've just got to kind of live with it and work with the medication that's available?
Yeah, I guess there's a couple of bits to that. We can't switch off that immune system recognition and that damages the bile ducts, but we can damp down that damage very effectively with all these treatments now. So the chance of people ending up with very severe liver disease is now very small, I think, particularly with the addition of this drug to our armoury. But they don't always treat the symptoms that Jill has, which are a slightly separate thing. You know, they're very much linked to the disease, but they are separate to getting severe liver damage.
And as we said, it's such a rare disease your doctor didn't even know about it, but you have managed to find support, haven't you?
Yes, it was about 10 years in that I suddenly decided I didn't want to be on my own. I hadn't told people about it because I looked so well.
Yeah.
And then we found the PBC Foundation up in Edinburgh. They put me in touch with a lovely lady called Wendy, and from then it has been the most magical part of my life.
Oh, Jill, I'm so pleased.
Having a hug with somebody else who's got PBC is so special in everyone's life. I know I'm a volunteer with Wendy for the foundation, and we have groups, we meet. It's truly wonderful to just know somebody who sort of knows how you're feeling.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So if people want to find out more about this, maybe this is something in their life, where can they find out more?
I think certainly most people with PBC know about their label, their diagnosis, and so they should be seeing the consultants in hospital, so mention it. But the PBC Foundation and the British Liver Trust both have very good information on the drug available on their websites.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story and the information about the new drug.
Thank you.
Let's move on now for your top story of the day. And a former shoplifter who fell into the wrong path to fund his drug addiction is now hitting the streets of Nottingham and working with the police to tackle the issue in the city centre. It's all part of the new Notts Police Offender to Rehabilitation scheme aimed at reducing growing rates of reoffending. James from Birmingham has been in and out of prison for 3 decades, but is now helping the force, including by giving shop owners advice on what they can do to prevent theft. Jordan Guerrero reports.
This new Nottinghamshire programme is helping shop owners to feel better protected and putting an end to the vicious cycle of reoffending. Meet James. He's been a repeat offender for shoplifting for most of his life and used crime to fund his drug addiction. But now he's turned the page after completing a rehab programme. Instead, he's been using his own experiences to prevent people like his younger self from following a similar path. He speaks to shop owners about how to prevent shoplifting, and he talks to young people to deter them from committing crime, rather than getting arrested and entering the criminal justice system.
There's still stuff to sell at school. I started smoking cannabis when I was 8, and then found that was a way to fund that habit. I progressed onto crack and heroin at the age of 13, 14, and then it's how I funded my habit, that and other crime. There's certain signs to look out for before somebody's going to become aggressive, and looking for them signs and knowing when to step back, because somebody getting hurt for a bit to protect some stock isn't worth it.
PC Joanna Baxter has been working closely with James on the programme and says it's about changing behaviours in the reoffender that can break the chain.
Somebody that's on £1,000 of drugs a week will probably steal about £3,000 worth of stock to fund that habit. So when we're looking at the funding that the businesses and the Police and Crime Commissioner's Office have given us to support this project, it's a real fraction of that cost that we put into each person. And then the savings that we get over a 2-year period are absolutely enormous.
Once someone completes a programme like this, they then work alongside Nottinghamshire Police to help others in rehabilitating. And with recent Office for National Statistics figures showing a 24% rise in shoplifting across the county, Officers say they think a lot of it is down to problems with the cost of living.
As with everywhere in the UK, shoplifting is on the rise. Cost of living crises and other elements are really pushing shoplifting up, and we know that. One of the good things that we're seeing is we've got a lot of people reporting shoplifting to us, because shoplifting is a crime that's underreported on the whole nationally.
Some of the prolific offenders are needing support into getting away from crime, and this is a programme that could help them to do that. And it's all about reduction in shoplifting and offenders reoffending.
Jordan Guerrero for Nuts TV.
Some more of your news headlines now first. And the family of a woman who was killed after being hit by a bus in Nottingham have paid tribute to a devoted wife and mother. 34-year-old Helena Chermakani was fatally injured during an incident in Lower Parliament Street on the morning of October the 22nd. Now, her family have said she was a rare soul and the most genuine person you could meet, saying she cared deeply for everyone she met and will be remembered for the joy that she brought into people's lives. Floral tributes to Helena have been left at the scene. Next, and a 48-hour dispersal order has been issued in Arnold after a day of crime and antisocial behaviour in the town. Police enacted the order from 7 p.m. yesterday after MP Michael Payne received reports of youths harassing people in the street and throwing rocks at people, cars and homes on Sunday. Nottinghamshire Police are investigating the incidents and say the dispersal order means anyone who's acting suspiciously or antisocially will be forced to leave the area until Friday. Right, let's take a short break now, but pop and grab a cup of tea and come back after the break as we'll be meeting some sports stars of the future and looking ahead to a big weekend in football and ice hockey too. All of that's on the way next. Hello, welcome back to Thursday's show with me, Emma Caldwell. I hope you're all right today. Here's what's happening in Notts today. First, and more than 8,000 former Notts miners will get a boost to their pensions. That's after Chancellor Rachel Reeves confirmed surplus cash in the mine workers' pension scheme will be given back to members, ending years of what campaigners say has been an injustice. A long-standing campaign has criticised successive governments for taking as much as £1.5 billion from the pot without putting it back. Now that will be given back, bringing a 32% boost to their annual pensions of about £29 a week. And we're sticking with the budget, and concerns have been raised about £9 million of levelling up cash possibly being withdrawn in Hucknall. The town was due to get money for culture and transport projects, with this cash announced by the previous Conservative government in spring. However, the Treasury have said it's minded to withdraw funding from this pot to claw back cash, whilst the town's MP Michelle Welch said Labour were dealt a terrible inheritance from the Tories. However, Hucknall councillors say the cash withdrawal would be a disaster. All right, moving on now, and it's time to meet our second guests of the show. And you might remember we spoke to 10-year-old Luke Millward and his dad Joe just after he won the British Karting Championship back in September. Well, now they've been all the way to Italy to take on the twists and turns at the World Championship. The week was full of ups and downs as well as those sharp bends. Luke even got into pole position in qualifying, but unfortunately it wasn't to be this time as he crashed on race day and finished in 29th place. But he still had his head held high, and I'm very pleased to say that both Luke and his dad Joe join me now. Thank you very much for coming in half term as well. Now, for those people that maybe didn't see you on the show when you were on with Al last time, tell us about how you got into karting. Where did it all begin?
It all began when, I can't remember where it all began, but yeah, I just got into it somehow and then it went from there.
And Joe, was this something you did and you kind of got into it and you were like, I've got a son now, he's going to get into it? How did it all start?
No, we stumbled across it really at a local kart track. I was into football as a child and stuff, so I liked watching my F1, but we stumbled into it and it just takes off from there, and the better you get, the more you do it, and so on and so on.
And now look at you. Now you've won the British Karting Championship back in September. How did that feel? Is that the medal that you're wearing? How did it feel when you won?
It just felt great, but we didn't win in Italy, but we won there. So.
Do you know what? Let's talk about Italy, because it's the World Championship. You're 10 years old. It's amazing to even get in. You were in pole position at one point, weren't you?
Yeah, but we just didn't get the outcome that we'd like, so. we had a crash and we couldn't have done anything about that crash.
And when you say a crash, because these cars are going fast, aren't they? Like, how fast are you driving?
About 60 miles an hour.
And that is in an incredible speed. Like, if you think about 60 miles an hour, but you didn't get hurt or anything? Good. And how is that for you, Dad? Like, he's in pole position on the qualifiers, like it's an incredible thing, you know, and then this happens.
I think the week was really, really successful, and Luke won 2 of the heats. He was second in the pre-final. We started the final on pole position, so to walk out at the World Championships with your son on pole position is probably, yeah, I think top 3 of my proudest ones, I think, in karting. So, yeah, it was immensely proud, and then the final didn't go to plan, but that's racing and that's sport, and I think it's a really good learning curve for Luke, actually, and we'll bounce back and we'll go stronger again.
Absolutely, and bouncing back you absolutely do. What's next for you? What are you kind of in training for now?
We're just going to try and get one event ticket and then go to Bahrain, same event next year, but just in Bahrain, so hopefully we have enough money to go to Bahrain.
Well, this is it, because I mean, you're talking about Italy and Bahrain. It's not like it's in Hucknall or, you know, Mansfield or something. They're far away places. Like, you guys look incredible. It must cost a lot of money. How's it all funded?
Yeah, we funded it ourselves so far, but we've certainly been doing some work trying to gain some sponsorship, which a couple of companies have come forward and sponsored us little amounts, which we're very grateful for. For the season next year, Luke will definitely need a bigger amount of sponsorship. We can't continue to do that. So for his karting to continue, we need that local support, there's no doubt about it. So any businesses that like to support something local, then please contact us, give us an email or find us on Facebook, and any help is greatly appreciated.
And of course, it sounds like you're doing incredibly as well. So you're 10 years old now, so am I right in thinking that your max speed increases, like you go up to a different class? Is there an age bracket or like a height bracket? How does it work?
It works in age, so ages for different classes basically.
Okay, so what will the next age bracket be for you? Is it 11 or does it change at 10?
I think I can't remember, I think it's 9 to 13.
Okay. And then 13, yeah. And then how fast do you get to go?
Not much faster, probably only about 10 miles an hour.
Honestly, I'd be terrified of it in my little car, terrified. I think you do absolutely incredibly. If people do want to find out more about the incredible driving that you're doing, Luke, where can we find out more about you?
So he's got his own Instagram account, which has obviously taken off over the last couple of weeks, which has been really successful. So find us on Instagram, Facebook, and he has a website that's just starting to get set up. Brilliant. Has our email address on there. But yeah, if people really want to contact me directly, then joe.millward@hotmail.co.uk.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for coming back in and talking to us. And I have no doubt we'll see you again in the future doing amazing things. Thank you. Sticking with sport now, and we are starting with Nottingham Forest head coach Nuno Espirito Santo saying he still needs to assess whether playmaker Morgan Gibbs-White will remain on the sidelines for the side's match against West Ham on Saturday. The Reds' number 10 was absent from the club's open training session at the City Ground on Tuesday, and head coach Nuno said he joins a number of players who could also miss out.
We have some issues, still assessing, still one day to go. It's always the same. After a period of season and along some matches, hard ones, players get knocks and all these things, injuries, players coming back, we have to assess them tomorrow. We have James is not available, Danilo is out, Ibrahim Sangare is out also, so we are short on numbers. We have Elliot and Morgan to assess and decide. Important players for us, problems that we have to find solutions.
Across the Trent now, and Notts County are in action tomorrow night when they kickstart their FA Cup campaign against Derbyshire side Alfreton Town. The Powies welcome Alfreton to Meadow Lane for a 7:45 p.m. kick-off, and head coach Stuart Maynard said he's hoping to progress as far as possible in the cup.
Oh, it's vital. I think it brings a good vibe about the place. It's the best competition in the world. We want to go as far as we can in this competition, and we're really looking forward to it. It's exciting when the FA Cup comes around, the draw, when we all sat down and watched the draw together. So it's a really exciting time, and we're looking forward to the game.
On to the ice now, and it was another loss for the Panthers last night away at Guildford. Danny Stewart's side lost the match 4-2, and that's despite going into the first break leading 2-0. The hosts levelled the scoring in the second period before scoring twice again in the third to secure the 2 points. The Panthers play twice again this weekend, firstly at home to Cardiff on Saturday and then away to Fife Flyers on Sunday. Now, earlier on, we met a potential go-kart world champion, and now it's time to meet 5 girls who could go on to be future Olympic gymnasts. Tilly Wright, Grace Davis, Leisha Ravenscroft, Bethany Raymond and Mabel Dawson all train at Robin Hood Gym in Sherwood. They were recently crowned senior team champions at the British Championships in Stoke. So this week, our reporter Katia Back went down to watch them train.
The Olympics in Paris may have just passed us, but these girls are the gymnasts of the future. Tilly Wright, Grace Davies, Leisha Ravenscroft, Bethany Raymond and Mabel Dawson. Earlier this month, the Robin Hood gymnasts were crowned senior team winners at the British Championships. The competition was held in Stoke-on-Trent on October the 12th and saw the team win a score of 149.2. To put it in context, that's just 22 points short of the US Olympic team score 2 months ago in Paris. Alongside hard work and consistent training, the girls feel that the key to their win is keeping their team spirit.
The run-up was very stressful for all of us. Like, there was some times where we cried together, but then there was times where we laughed together. It just felt so good for all of us to just know that all of that was worth it.
We were all there together, so everyone was cheering everyone on. The atmosphere was really good.
I don't think I'd be able to do gymnastics if I didn't have these girls.
The team train at Robin Hood Gymnastics Centre in Sherwood with head coach Gemma Wilson and assistant head coach Fred Vortman. She says that the team's strength comes from holding on to their gymnasts.
We've been thriving as a club. We've had gymnasts in GB and England squad for the last 4 or 5 years. We've been to internationals, and then keeping seniors is quite difficult. So we're quite a strong club. We've got 6, 7, 8 senior gymnasts still competing for us, and hence we obviously did really well at the senior teams.
This training session was also under the watchful eye of the French Gymnastics Federation. Nicolas Torday was here in Nottingham to see what they could learn from the Robin Hood champions and what they could take back home to France.
Here it's very well organized, well structured, and with very good result in competition. So for us, it's interesting to see how it's possible to organize the practice and the technical stuff to manage a center as big as this one.
The bright lights of Paris may be behind us, but for these gymnasts, the hope is to set a high bar heading into the future. Katia Back for Notts TV.
Oh, they are amazing. Time now for a look at your picture of the day. Oh, look at that. Guess where it is? Wollerton Park, of course, looking stunning in the autumn. Thank you very much to Ram PX for that. And of course, if you do want to drop us your pictures, we'd love to see them on all our socials. In weather, it's looking much the same over the next few days, I'm afraid, with grey cloudy skies. But on the bright side, it is going to stay dry. Tonight, temperatures are around the 11 or 12 mark if you're off trick-or-treating. It's warming up ever so slightly tomorrow, but still overcast all day, and then into the weekend, again cloudy with temperatures in the low teens. All right, let's take another short break now, but don't go anywhere because we are going to be hearing all about an alternative comedy festival coming to Nottingham next week. Plus, we've got your What's On guide coming up if you're looking for something to do across Notts tonight. That's all on the way next. Hello, welcome back to Notts Today with me, Emma Caldwell. I hope you're well today. Here's some more news headlines for you first. And a council leader has vowed to suspend changes at cemeteries which would have asked families to remove grave decorations. Families across Broxtowe have launched a campaign, including a petition with more than 1,000 signatures, after enforcement was announced for graves in council-run cemeteries. That includes removing decorations and ornaments placed on graves because of safety and maintenance concerns. But today, families met with Broxtowe Borough Council and Milan Rajovic, the authorities' leader, who agreed to put the changes on hold so a long-term solution can be found. Next, and more details have emerged about why the annual Christmas lights trail at Wollerton Hall isn't happening this year. The event, which is held across the Hall and Deer Park, has been running since 2020 and has become a family favourite attraction over the festive period. The Hall originally said it won't be happening this winter because people behind it wanted a break, but now the City Council has said bad weather conditions over the course of the year have also caused the cancellation. It is, however, expected to return next year. Time now to see what you can get up to this Halloween Eve in Nottingham. First up at the National Justice Museum. We talked about this a few weeks ago. It sounds fabulous. Victorian Condemned is a tour around the spaces used by real-life criminals of the 19th century. It starts at 7 o'clock tonight, or you can book for the weekend as well. But it is on the scarier side, so it's very much over 18s. This one isn't for the kids. But if you fancy a laugh to get you away from all the scary stuff, comedian Paul Foot is on at Metronome tonight. Now, you might recognise Paul from TV shows like Would I Lie to You, Never Mind the Buzzcocks or 8 out of 10 Cats. It starts at 7:45. Doors are open an hour beforehand, so if you fancy that, get yourself down there. Finally, if it's a bit of a disco you're after, the Pelican Pub in Bilborough have got their Halloween family disco tonight. That goes on until 8:30. There is a costume competition, both for the kids and for the adults too. It sounds like a lot of fun. Now, that's what's on tonight, but starting tomorrow, the city will become infected by laughter as the Nottingham Comedy Festival returns for a full 10 days. And next weekend, there's a real treat coming to town. Or is it a trick? See, Halloween? Never mind. Wormhole Weekend is bringing Britain's best alternative comedy to our city with a twist. And joining me now in the studio to tell us more about the shows is comedian Lee Kennedy. Thank you very much for joining us today. Very well, thank you. So, Club Wormhole sounds fabulous. What is it?
So Club Wormhole is Nottingham's home of alternative and strange comedy. I'm part of the gang behind it, and every month we put on a monthly alternative comedy cabaret that's usually themed. You can see here behind when we did Mad Max. We've been in Nottingham Playhouse for the last 6 months. The way it usually works is we bring some of the best and strangest acts from across the country, and then we, the Club Wormhole gang, who are a bunch of Nottingham-based clowns and weirdos, put together what essentially looks like a school play that is themed every month. And yeah, we put a lot of work behind it, and it's just a really fun, wild evening. We always finish with a sing-song, and we have people laughing and seeing stuff that they never would have seen before.
And I love this. And you guys have been part of the Nottingham Comedy Festival. You were part of it last year, but it's going to be slightly different for you this year, isn't it?
So last year we did the first Club Wormhole. Like everything when you're trying to make theatre and arts in the fringes and in your spare time, usually a deadline focuses the energy. So Nottingham Comedy Festival was coming up last year. We thought, let's do our first show with that. But then this year, we're gluttons for punishment, and we come from an improv background, so we very much operate on a yes and basis. So we thought this year, let's run a whole mini festival inside the wider comedy festival, really focused on alt comedy and clown.
And I absolutely love this. Like you say, you don't make life easy for yourself. So if people are coming to the show, or any of the shows, what can they expect?
So it's really hard to say. It's so varied. The main thing I would say is, whereas traditional stand-up or traditional comedy, you kind of have like set-up, punchline, and the comedian kind of leads you on a journey, and you know when to laugh, and everybody laughs together. Alternative comedy, the comedian kind of asks the audience to meet them halfway. So for me, when it's at its best, you're laughing, you don't really know what you're laughing at. Possibly everybody in the room is laughing at different things, and sometimes you're laughing at the fact that this is all so ridiculous and what's really happening right here. So it's anything that's strange, and like what we've got over the weekend is we've got musical comedy, we've got people that are more one-liners and theatrical, we've got my show, I do a clown church, which is everything I like about church, but I'm a clown and I'm leading it. So it brings people together, there's nice words. Yeah, it's a real mix.
And what I love about your kind of comedy, and it's my kind of comedy as well, is that you're not on stage with a script. You go on stage, let's say, with some kind of ideas, but it's a lot of audience interaction, isn't it?
100%. I'm going to do a bit in a few hours' time, and I've got like 3 things written down. And I may do those things or I may not, but you really are, when it works, you're really locked into the audience and you're finding the games to play, and you might have an idea of, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go there. but really it's you go where the audience wants you to go and you bring them where you want them to go, and that's when it feels like everybody's making something together.
And I love it, and when it works it's so beautiful and it's so funny, and you can have the best night ever and you're not quite sure why, because you're not quite sure what they did or what the stories were, but it just works, doesn't it?
100%.
Amazing. So when is all this taking place?
All taking place, so the Comedy Festival starts, I believe, tomorrow. And then it goes into the 10th, and we will be on from the 8th to the 10th, which is next Friday to Sunday at Fishergate Point, just down by the Ice Arena.
Amazing. So you guys are on. Do you get to see anything else at the Nottingham Comedy Festival? Because, oh my goodness, the lineups are incredible.
It's really great, and it's never felt bigger. Between the main Nottingham Comedy Festival and then what Miss Imp do, what Rhymes Against Humanity do, there seems to be more than ever going on. And it's one of those weeks where I look at my diary and go, I would really like to be out every night, but I've got so much production and devising for my own show to do between now and next Friday that I'll see a bit. I've got a gig. I'm doing Smash Night at somewhere with Miss Imp next Wednesday night, but mostly I'm going to be seeing stuff at Wormhole Weekend.
Amazing. And do you know what I love about it as well is it's, I know that it's trying so hard to be accessible to so many people. Even the price point as well. Some of the shows are just pay what you can, or £2 for a show. There's so many things that people can see, and I just think the appetite for comedy in Nottingham is so big.
100%. We everything at Wormhole Weekend is pay what you want, so it's free to get in. We're probably going to shake a bucket at you on the way out, but everybody in Club Wormhole does everything on a volunteer basis. All the money goes directly to the artists, and accessibility is really important to us. Every venue we do, or every show we do, is in a wheelchair accessible venue, and we do try and drag people in, because we just know if people will just take a chance, they'll find something that they really love.
I love that. And Lee, where can they find out more if people want to find out?
You'll find out more. The easiest way to find things is at our social media on Facebook or Instagram. We're club_wormhole, and you'll find the link in the bio where you can find all the schedule.
Amazing. A pleasure talking to you. Thank you for
very
coming
much.
in.
Cheers.
Right, let's have another look at one of your top stories of the day. And a former shoplifter who fell into the wrong path to fund a drug addiction is now hitting the streets of Nottingham and working with the police to tackle the issue in the city centre. It's all part of the new Notts Police Offender to Rehabilitation scheme aimed at reducing growing rates of reoffending. James from Birmingham has been in and out of prison for 3 decades, but is now helping the force, including by giving shop owners advice on what they can do to prevent theft. Jordan Guerrero reports.
This new Nottinghamshire programme is helping shop owners to feel better protected and putting an end to the vicious cycle of reoffending. Meet James. He's been a repeat offender for shoplifting for most of his life and used crime to fund his drug addiction. But now he's turned the page after completing a rehab programme. Instead, he's been using his own experiences to prevent people like his younger self from following a similar path. He speaks to shop owners about how to prevent shoplifting, and he talks to young people to deter them from committing crime, rather than getting arrested and entering the criminal justice system.
There's still stuff to sell at school. I started smoking cannabis when I was 8, and then found that was a way to fund that habit. I progressed on to crack and heroin at the age of 13, 14, and then it's how I funded my habit, that and other crime. There's certain signs to look out for when before somebody's going to become aggressive, and looking for them signs and knowing when to step back, because somebody getting hurt for a bit to protect some stock isn't worth it.
PC Joanna Baxter has been working closely with James on the programme and says it's about changing behaviours in the reoffender that can break the chain.
Somebody that's on £1,000 of drugs a week will probably steal about £3,000 worth of stock to fund that habit. So when we're looking at the funding that the businesses and the Police and Crime Commissioner's Office have given us to support this project, it's a real fraction of that cost that we put into each person. And then the savings that we get over a 2-year period are absolutely enormous.
Once someone completes a programme like this, they then work alongside Nottinghamshire Police to help others in rehabilitating. And with recent Office for National Statistics figures showing a 24% rise in shoplifting across the county, officers say they think a lot of it is down to problems with the cost of living.
As with everywhere in the UK, shoplifting is on the rise. Cost of living crises and other elements are really pushing shoplifting up, and we know that. One of the good things that we're seeing is we've got a lot of people reporting shoplifting to us, because shoplifting is a crime that's underreported on the whole nationally.
Some of the prolific offenders are needing support into getting away from crime, and this is a programme that could help them to do that. And it's all about reduction in shoplifting and offenders reoffending.
Jordan Guerrero for Nuts TV.
Thanks, Jordan. Right, let's have some more news headlines now. First, a homeless man who threatened and chased someone with a BB gun has been jailed. 33-year-old Wayne Prescott had been sleeping rough in Nottingham's Curzon Street car park when he got into an argument with a man. CCTV footage from the scene on March the 12th showed Prescott getting up and holding the imitation gun before pointing it directly at the victim. A day later, he also assaulted a student outside the Victoria Centre. He was jailed for 35 months in court this week after admitting to several offences in August. Next, a police officer who let a domestic violence suspect leave the scene of a crime before falsifying evidence has been dismissed from his job. PC James Shackleton was deployed to the incident in December last year after a woman reported being assaulted and held against her will by her ex-partner. The officer turned his body camera off and allowed the man to leave the scene before not marking any of his footage for evidence. In a misconduct hearing yesterday, he said they were genuine mistakes but was dismissed from the force. All right, let's take the final break of the show now. But when we get back, we're going to be finding out some of the spooky ways you are spending Halloween tonight, plus hearing about how new media workshops in Mansfield are training people in new skills. We'll see you soon. Hello, welcome back to Thursday's show with me, Emma Caldwell. Hope you're well. Here's what's happening in Notts today. First, work to relocate a 35-year-old sculpture in Beeston has got underway. The 9-foot, 2-inch waterhead sculpture, which depicts a tree trunk, is being moved to a planter between Beeston Centre tram stop and the Arc Cinema. It was previously located in the square, but Broxtowe Borough Council wants to allow more space for traders in the market square. The relocation is expected to be complete by Friday and comes after a public consultation supported plans to open up more space in the market. Next, the park closure of Nottingham Railway Station footbridge will last for an initial 3 weeks. Concerns were raised last week after East Midlands Railway revealed the bridge, which connects Station Street and Queen's Road, would no longer serve platforms 1 to 6. That's in a bid to clamp down on fare evaders. The closure officially came to effect on Wednesday, and EMR say this will last until November the 17th. People wanting to change platforms need to go to the main entrance through the bridge, though the bridge still acts as a legal right-of-way. Moving on now to something a little spooky and fun, because of course today is Halloween, and that means thousands of kids across Notts will be dressing up in all sorts of outfits and heading out onto the streets for some tricks. Well, throughout this week we've done pumpkin picking and we've been to see the rooftop monsters scattered all across the city. I love them. And today we've been out into Nottingham to see what kind of Halloween havoc people are planning for this evening. Take a look at this.
Like it, but you're not crazy about it. But I just really like dressing up, so I really like it. Yeah.
We've always celebrated, and we've got kids and grandkids, so yeah, they've always celebrated with us as well. We'll have sweets and things for trick or treat for the children when they come round on the estate.
I'm dressing in an inflatable dinosaur.
Good chance to get a lot of sweets, but also I think like the scary side of it, that's not always so good for little children.
I'm going to be dressing up as a skeleton, and my favourite part of Halloween this year is because my friend Zach that moved is coming.
It's a good time of year for being a barber because it's busy and everyone looks good in their outfits.
Yeah. It's good to like have a time where you can like dress up and go out, like feel a bit different and just kind of wear something a bit different.
I think of lots of dressing up and lots of drinking and scary costumes.
I don't know, because like Halloween is right in the middle of the week. It's weird because we celebrated like last weekend, and then some people are doing Halloween like today because it's Halloween, and then next weekend.
Right, it's time for our final guest of the show now, and in an age where going out to enjoy movies, music and theatre maybe doesn't appeal as much to younger audiences, a magazine is helping to train people in and around Mansfield to become reviewers. It sounds fabulous. It's completely free. Loads of different sessions are being run by Voice Mag every Thursday in November for people in the area aged 16 to 25. And joining me now to tell us more about the project is Judy McFall, the programme lead for Voice Mag. Judy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. First of all, let's start with Voice Mag. What is that?
Okay, so so Voice Mag is basically an online magazine for young people nationally, aged 16 to 25, and we basically support young people in voicing their opinions and posting reviews based on different events and activities that they've experienced, to voice their opinions on arts, culture, tech, current affairs, anything that interests them, basically. So it's a really safe and secure environment where young people can post their written reviews or film and audio to basically voice their opinion.
Oh, I think that sounds fabulous. So tell us a little bit more about the project in Mansfield.
Okay, so Voice Mag, even though it's a national online magazine, we actually work across the Midlands at the moment to really support local level reviewers and upskilling young people in different skills across creative media. So we support young people. We work in partnership with different organisations. So this particular project that we're working with is Mansfield District Council, who run Mansfield Palace Theatre and Mansfield Museum. And we're working in partnership with them to develop this programme to support young people in accessing a variety of arts and cultural events, increasing their confidence in that, and also developing their skills as young professionals really for the future. So we really want to support and work in partnership with a variety of places. We do that across the Midlands, we do that in different areas. We work in Shropshire, we work in Stoke, we also work nationally, as I've mentioned. But yeah, we're partnering specifically in Mansfield this time. So we're going to be working, as you said, over 4 weeks in November, working with 16 to 25-year-olds who are basically interested in developing media skills, which includes a whole range. So we work at a real local level to really support and grow the arts and cultural offer that's central to that area, to increase young people's access to these different events and hopefully inspire them and develop new audiences.
This sounds brilliant. So 16 to 25, and I think sometimes one of the issues with theatre or going to events and things like that is the cost sometimes. So you give them access to things like this and then they write a review about it.
Yes, so it's all free, and it's free because we're funded, which is great. So we're actually, we're a small charity, Voice Mag, but we're actually funded by Arts Council England for this project. So it's a project grant, and we're working in partnership. So we do develop these partnerships to support and pool resources, pool support, and work with other professionals so that we can pool all of our different skills and provide, a wide variety of opportunities for young people. So yeah, it's about providing that access, because a lot of the time finance is actually a barrier, especially for young people. Things are quite expensive sometimes as well. So for example, in the theatre, theatre tickets can be quite costly sometimes. So we're really interested in developing those new audiences, younger audiences, which a lot of these theatres and venues, it's not just theatres either, it's cinemas, it might be galleries, festival events, any kind of arts and cultural event basically, or venue, to really break down those barriers actually, so young people can actually go out and access these events. So we're putting funding into the programme. So we also have a team obviously at Voice that will work in partnership with Mansfield, and also work with their professionals and creatives and artists and so on, to really support those young people. So no one's out of pocket. So yeah, there is funding attached for the tickets, and we get a lot of support as well. So through Voice, as not just in Mansfield but nationally as well, we have a lot of arts and cultural venues that offer press or comp tickets, specifically come to us and say, hey, have you got any young reviewers? We'd really like them to come to our venue. Yeah, we've got some brilliant partnerships that we've really developed over the years, because these venues are crying out for younger audiences, these audiences of the future, basically.
Of course, they absolutely are. So if people want to find out more and maybe thinking, actually, it sounds like an incredible course, I want to get involved, how can they find out more?
Okay, so they could go on to voicemag.uk, which is our website, or they can just email me directly at judy@voicemag.uk. All the details are online. There has been quite a little bit of promo that's been going out, so they might have picked that up in the news or through different organisations, youth and cultural organisations that might have hopefully spread the word. But they can literally just turn up as well if they want to on the 7th of November, 4 till 6. We're going to be at Mansfield Museum. So Thursday, the 7th of November, if they wanted to turn up, that's absolutely fine. We don't mind. I will be there. But equally, yes, they can just go onto the website and sign up or email me directly for more details.
Sounds fabulous, Judy. Thank you very much for sharing that with us tonight.
No problem.
So many lovely opportunities. Love that. Right, let's move on now. And elsewhere on Notts TV, we've aired our most recent episode of Team Talk, the only show focusing on all things Notts football. And this week's show saw host Mark Shardlow and Charlie McParland joined by former Forest, Mansfield and Notts County forward Craig Westcar and Notts fan Colleen Mulvaney. And after Red striker Chris Wood scored 2 more goals against Leicester last week and another against Palace last Monday, the panel questioned whether his if I could say it, scoring streak can continue.
Is this just a little purple patch? I mean, you've both played up front. How do you keep the run going? Can you? I mean, if you sort of move it on 7 from 9 by the end of the season, you'll have got nearly 30 goals. Is that realistic, or is it going to be a bump in the road?
There's always a bump in the road. Like if you score 30 goals in the Premier League, like you're sort of Erling Haaland class. You know, even the Salahs and that, and they're getting 20, aren't they? 21 goals. But like what Forest? And Forest will have a sticky patch. They all do. It's an unforgiving league. Any league you're playing in, be it Championship, League 1, League 2, you have your sticky patch. But if Forest get the balls in the right areas for Chris Wood, he'll score goals. He'll score goals. The first goal was fantastic. What a finish, little half turn in the corner. Yeah. Tight little turn. You know, you don't get that from a big lump. No. Honestly, what a fantastic.
He could have had a few last week against Crystal Palace as well. I think Anderson played a great ball for one of them. I think he's headed it over. So he's getting in the right positions and he's playing really well.
Colleen, let me show you the table. And did you expect this, I wonder, at the start of the season from across the river? I mean, there we are, 7th. Yeah. And if Forest win on Saturday and the results go their way, they could be 3rd. 5 o'clock on Saturday.
And you can catch up with Team Talk on demand right now or by visiting our official Notts TV YouTube channel, I know, which is a full show available for you right now. Time for another look at your Thursday picture of the day now. And Ram PX took this great autumnal picture in Woollerton Park. Look at that, gorgeous. Weather-wise, it's much the same over the next few days with grey, cloudy skies. But on the bright side, it is staying dry tonight. Temperatures are around 11 or 12 degrees. It's warming up ever so slightly tomorrow afternoon, but still overcast all day. And then into the weekend again, cloudy with temperatures in the low teens with a high of 13. And that's it for today. Thanks as always to our brilliant guest. I've loved today's show. I'm back tomorrow at the same time to do it all over again. But until then, from everyone in the team, happy Halloween if you're celebrating today. Enjoy your evening, especially if you're out trick-or-treating. Be safe. I'm Emma Caldwell and I'll see you tomorrow at 5:30. Bye-bye.